part out. I'm gonna close the window. I'll be back. Hello, my dear friends and my dear family. What a week, what a week, what a week. So this week, I don't want you to be confused by these 3 boxes over here. They're just pictures that I taped to the wall. I usually put pictures in, but these are actually literally on the wall, so. This week we went to Zaragoza. If you remember, Zaragoza is the place I did my report on. Zaragoza was interesting. We only stopped there for a short period, but we went inside a cathedral and there was political and religious aspects both inside the cathedral. There was the national flag of several countries, including Mexico, Venezuela, and Puerto Rico. And there was Mass going on while we were there, which is a Catholic church service. Unlike most cathedrals where we go and it's just empty, there were a lot of people there. It was very full. In Zaragoza, they're famous for these chocolate-covered dried fruits, and so we got a bag and shared. Then we went to Barcelona. You might be wondering why I said Barcelona and not Barcelona. It's because in Barcelona, they also speak Catalan, which is a different language than Spanish. Although like French, Italian, and Portuguese, it's very similar. We passed a street called Diagonal Avenue, and I couldn't help but snicker a little bit because of Diagon Alley. Our tour guide told us that the traffic in Barcelona is way faster than in most European cities because the streets are perpendicular. A lot of the super older cities didn't really have a city plan to have big wide streets. They had to go back in later and add the big wide streets. For that reason, it's kind of hard to plan how streets are going to look because the cities most of the time were already there and you just had to work with what you had. Another thing we learned was that the purpose of balconies, which I've seen in every city I've visited in Spain so far, is to show off the daughters of the families for marriage. So that whole romantic idea of singing to somebody on a balcony was actually a reality.
But soft what light at yonder window breaks.
That was a real thing that people did. Because it wasn't really appropriate back in the day for women to just parade around the streets. So the way you got to know somebody was if you saw them on their balcony. Some of the more modern buildings in Barcelona looked like waves because it's a beach town. Barcelona is located on the coast of Spain. We went to a park called Gaudi Park, and it was built by a guy who wanted to build the perfect society. He had a lot of money, so he just started building it, assuming that he would have people to buy the homes he was building. It didn't quite work out, but Barcelona turned it into a park. Our group went out to dinner together to a Uruguayan place, which is cool because Sister Madden is from Uruguay, or as she pronounces it, Uruguay. When we were there, Brother Madden's daughter said to me, "Oh, you have to try a milanesa, it's super good." And I was like, "Milanesa?" And she's just explaining, "I love milanesa, it's so delicious." And she pointed it out on the menu and I was like, "Ooh, maybe I'll try that." So I ordered it and it was a chicken fried steak. It's just a fancy name for chicken fried steak. On Friday, we went to the Picasso Museum. Now, about Picasso. Of course I know who Picasso is. I mentioned him in an earlier video. For most of my life, I've assumed that Picasso is so famous and so beloved because his artwork is so weird. It's like so bad that it's good. At least that's what I thought. I thought he had no depth perception, no appreciation for how colors are supposed to work. I was dead wrong. We went through the Picasso Museum and it was like I was meeting Picasso in person. It was that good. We saw his early stuff when he tried to be really realistic with colors. We saw a painting that he worked really hard on but did not finish. I saw some of his thumbnail paintings before he made the real painting. I know what a thumbnail painting is. It's where you take a little square and you paint how you think you want the big painting to look before actually painting the big painting. It's practice painting. We read about all the places he went to and studied. On one of the information plaques, it even said that he stopped studying at this certain art school because he felt like he couldn't learn anymore from it. He was just on another level. As I saw his practice sketches and stuff that he'd kept, probably not imagining it would be on display at a museum, I related to him because I was like, I'm an artist. I do this. I draw multiple people on the same page in different positions trying to get it right before I make an official thing. I loved going to the Picasso Museum. It was awesome. And it just made me appreciate him as an artist more because I saw his thought process. He would draw the same thing over and over and over again. Each time he practiced drawing something, the practice was good enough to put up in a museum. Needless to say, I have a new favorite artist. It's Picasso. Later that day, we went to a market and my mind was just full of art. And as I looked around at this pretty crowded marketplace with displays and smoothies and fruits and raw meat, I thought to myself, everything is art here. The food displays are art. The cobblestone streets are art. Everything in Spain is art. I was just having an art explosion in my mind. Pretty awesome. We wandered around a little bit and Nicole, Anu, and I found this cool ruins place. We went to a light show. We went to La Fuente Mágica de Montjuïc, which means the magic fountain of the Jewish mountain.
I know, cool name, right?
Not as cool as the light show was! Holy smokes, talk about a view. Or a lack of a view. Initially we were pretty far away, but it was amazing. The water danced. There were electronic colorful lights inside this fountain. Music blasting. The music ranged from classical to Queen to romantic. It was stunning. After the light show we headed home and I was feeling a little bit hungry, so I went out, got some Subway, I know, it's not very Spanish, brought it back to the hotel, split a footlong with Anu, and we watched a few episodes of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was applicable seeing as we had just watched water dance. The next day, we went to Montserrat. If you break down that word Mont and Serrat, Mont is mountain and Serrat is serrated. Serrated mountain. The mountain itself was made out of limestone that was being held together with calcite. Let me show you some rocks I got, actually. So on the Monk Mountain, I got this rock, which is, as you can see, a conglomerate rock, because it's got that little rock that's wedged inside this rock. It's got divots where there used to be rocks, but now there's not, and that's called a conglomerate, because part of it's sedimentary, part of it's not. Come on, rock knowledge, come back to me. But, oh, and you can see a sizable divot right there where a rock popped out. I also got this rock, which is a cool rock. I think it's quartz, but it could also be marble. It's definitely got a marbly look to it. I was given the task of informing the group about the history and background of this place. But if you know me, you know I just used the opportunity to make a whole bunch of rock puns. Montserrat sure is a calcite for sore eyes. You know, tourists rate this place about 10 out of 10. So that was fun. We took a little train straight up the mountain. You want to talk about steep? This thing was steep. It was literally the coolest thing ever. On top of the mountain, me and Anu pretended we were airbenders. Because in the show Avatar: Last Airbender, the airbenders are monks. They live up in the mountains among the clouds. So it was very appropriate that we watched that the previous night. On Sunday, church in Alcalá was moved to 5 p.m. because there was a bike race in the middle of town. I used the opportunity to go seek out some people. A few months ago, when I wasn't even sure I was coming to Spain or not, I called my cousin Brandon, who served his mission here in Madrid, Spain. I asked him, hey, is there anyone you want me to look up for you? In hindsight, I should have made sure I was able to look them up before promising that I would. It's just been so busy week to week, you know. It's just I haven't had time to go seek out these people. But I went to 8th Ward, I missed 6th Ward because that was at 9 a.m. and I left at 10 and the bus didn't get there till 11. But I went to 8th Ward and I talked to the secretary, I talked to the missionaries. It just brought back memories from my own mission, honestly. So that was a fun experience. Brandon, if you ever watch this video, I'm sorry I couldn't find everybody. That's all for this week. Ciao for now!